Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Master of None here. It's been a while. I'll talk about where I've been towards the end of the video, but first, as always, I want to dive right into the topic of today: strikes. Strikes have been on my mind quite a bit lately since, in case you haven't heard, ANET kind of suggested that they will be replacing raids in End of Dragons. They haven't explicitly said that, but we don't have an announcement for a new raid. The last one was released all the way back in June 2019, and on top of everything, the new strikes will have a challenge mode attached to them. This raises the question: can strikes replace raids? What needs to happen that this change in endgame content actually feels satisfying? And what are the pros and cons of both approaches? If you enjoy any of my videos, please subscribe, helping me crawl just a little faster to that 1000 subscriber mark. First, let's talk about accessibility. A big problem raids have is that they feel extremely challenging to get into. They require extensive knowledge not only about your own class, but also about other people's classes, party compositions, boss mechanics, etc. This is especially true if you decide to make your own group. It can be quite challenging to find a group if you haven't already killed the bosses for the 700th time, so making a group yourself does make it quicker. It's also what I did the first time I went into raids, about 2 months ago. This can work, but as I talk about in that video, can also be quite stress-inducing, since you are kind of expected to sort the groups out and get the right people in. By far the best way to raid is to join a guild that does them regularly and takes new people with them. It's so much more fun that way, and being on Discord with everybody definitely helps to ease the learning curve. I recently did exactly that, and raids have become even more enjoyable that way. I'll put the Discord link of the guild in the description, in case anyone is interested in joining. Getting into strikes felt equally daunting, although it definitely wasn't merited. I'll be honest, I was kind of nervous jumping into strikes. It's now already a while back, but I hadn't experienced any 10-man content yet, so I wasn't sure what to expect. The return to Grofmar Valley pushed me over the edge, since it seemed like the best time to find a pickup group without any kill-proof requirements. And sure enough, there were plenty of groups looking for people to do the Shiver Peaks strike. It was quick, reasonably fun, but also very easy. It was clear that I was massively overthinking this endeavor, and shortly after I completed all the easy ones back to back. This leads nicely into difficulty. The difficulty of strikes is currently all over the place. They range from easier than world bosses to actually having to do some mechanics, especially if you don't have a very coordinated group. If you haven't done any strikes yet, just know that Shiver Peaks Pass, Voice of the Fallen and Freyr of Jormak are super quick and easy. Forging Steel and Cold War are not much more difficult in my opinion, but they take forever compared to the other ones. For Bone Skinner and Whispers of Jormak, however, you will have to learn the mechanics and make sure that your group composition covers all the important boons and buffs. I really wonder where ArenaNet wants to place the new strikes difficulty-wise. Are the challenge modes going to be on the level of normal raids? Or are they going to be harder than that, more like raid challenge modes? They won't be able to please everyone, so I'd assume that the challenge modes for strikes will be more like raid difficulty. The raid community itself is already quite small, and then catering to the very hardcore might not be in their best interest. I think it's important to note here that I'm anything but a seasoned raider. So if you are quote-unquote a hardcore player, or even if you haven't raided at all, let me know your opinions on the matter in the comments below. Personally, I hope they also take a look at the current difficulty of strikes, decide on where they want them to be and adjust the current bosses accordingly. In general though, I do think the accessibility of strikes will naturally be a lot higher than of raids. Just the fact that you have already encountered the boss in your story helps with that. This should lead you nicely into trying regular strikes, and once you got accustomed to them, aim for the challenge mode. It's a much more natural progression path, and it comes by design with what people wanted to have in raids for a long time. An easier, soloable story mode. A 10-man group version that maybe has some more mechanics and eases you into group content, and then a challenge mode. A lot of people were upset when raids were released with a lot of cool story in them, since they felt like they were being left out. It's probably harder to make strikes feel as epic as a raid, just because of the fact that strikes only contain a single boss. But I have to say, as cool and as nicely crafted all the raid instances are, when I'm raiding, I don't really care for any of that stuff. I just want a fun fight. Much more important is a steady release of new content. This has seemingly been a big challenge for ANET. The only thing ArenaNet really managed to release somewhat consistently was story content. So I do really hope that by moving to strikes, they will be able to be more consistent. It's just much more synergistic. The story always had this problem that it was mostly a one and done thing. Raids have a problem that not enough people engage with the content, so they can't justify spending more time on it. Focusing on strikes could merge those two things nicely. Lastly, I do think it's important that ArenaNet gets the reward structure done correctly. Since, let's be honest, no matter how good a fight is, us MMO players also want something shiny for it. They already said that they are overhauling the reward structure of strikes, which I'm super glad about, since the current system with the 3 different color charts, crystals, hums and echoes is a convoluted mess. Maybe they could introduce a new legendary ring for challenge mode strikes, since currently there is only one ring obtainable through PvE. Or it could be a way to unlock some variants of the new legendary Elder Dragon weapons. To sum it all up, focusing on strikes could be a great thing for the game. Nothing prohibits ANET to design challenge mode boss encounters to feel like raids. The best thing for the game, however, will be if this change means a more steady release of new content for raiders. It also solves the problem of having to build these huge separate set pieces for just a small part of the player base. If they can stick to all these things and nail the reward structure, I'm very positive about what's to come. With that being said, I want to address my returning viewers and subscribers directly and talk a bit about where I've been for the past weeks. You might have seen my comments on the last video already. I started this channel in September while I was looking for a new job and poured all my time into it. Amazed by how quickly the channel was growing and the positive response I got, I just continued to work tirelessly on more and more videos. Then, November came around and I got hired for a new job. This put a hard stop on everything that had to do with YouTube and producing videos. It of course also meant that the channel dropped in views significantly and the growth came to a halt, getting maybe a maximum of 5 subscribers a week. This of course didn't help to motivate me, but I was mainly just too tired to produce anything. I always write complete scripts for my videos, that way I can ensure that they stay concise and are up to a certain quality standard that I expect from myself. However, this means that every video I make is a significant time investment, since I'm a slow writer too. Also, sitting in front of the computer for 9 to 10 hours a day for work usually made me not want to spend even more time on the same computer after work. I got a Switch OLED instead and just played some chill games on the sofa or the bed. It was the perfect device for cooling down after a stressful day, and since it's the first console that I own from Nintendo, I've got plenty of new games to catch up on. Well, all of that is over. The new job was not sustainable for me and I'm now looking for something else. I have more time for myself again, but it's been quite difficult getting back into the flow of writing new videos. I guess I'm also a bit out of ideas and I'm mainly waiting for the End of Dragons release. I suspect it's not the last time where I need to put a break on the YouTube channel to focus on things that actually can pay the rent. Nonetheless, I hope that y'all enjoy the videos that do come out. The next one is already in production and is about my daily routine in Guild Wars 2. No plans after that currently, but End of Dragons should hopefully be near. Depending on how addicted I get to Lost Ark and if I jump in right at release, I might also make some videos on that. Thank you for watching and I hope to see you in the next one.